Hello my lovelies, it's Karis with Carrot Creates, and this is Thanks I Made It, the knit and crochet podcast where we drink almost as much tea as we spill. Speaking of tea, tonight's tea of choice is Earl Grey for me. Usually I do Earl Grey and a tablespoon of honey and a teaspoon of lemon, but we were out of honey, so this is just lemon. It is divine. What tea, coffee, other warm beverage, I hope it's warm because it's too cold outside to be drinking anything iced, are you drinking? Put it down in the comments below. And what is on your hooks and or needles? For me today, it is a massive houndstooth blanket for Christmas that I've got to get done. So I am putting in some time on this while we talk about Christmas. Look at me putting everything together like that. So yeah, today's topic is all things crochet and Christmas gifts. We are gonna have a really great little chat. If you enjoy it, please consider liking and subscribing. We're trying to grow the channel, and that would bring you even more episodes like this from my dining room, late at night, with a cup of tea. Aren't those the best conversations? So I say we just hop right into it. So I think first I should probably start by talking about a little bit of my history with crochet Christmas gifts, just to get the ball rolling on the chat. So I started crocheting when I was 6 probably, and my dad taught me to crochet when his disability got to the point where he couldn't go play outside with me anymore, and he wanted an activity that he and his daughter could do together and still make good memories and bond, and he could pass something down to me. So I started to crochet. That first year, I crocheted my mom a granny square scarf, and it was the ugliest thing I've ever made. I don't have a picture of it because I'm ashamed of it. My mom still has it in her dresser drawer, but I will not be showing that on the internet. It was awful, it was atrocious, it was really bad, but she loved it, and I guess that's all that matters. The next year, I think I made toboggans for everybody, and then I was off Christmas gifts for quite a few years, and I even put crocheting down for, I think, a year in all of this. There's been a lot going on in my family, and somewhere in that I put it down for a little bit, kind of went into a bit of a depressive episode, and you know when that happens, you put down the things that you love, and that really should have been a warning sign for my mental health, but it wasn't, and it's, we're fine now. So, when I got back into Christmas gifts, the first year that I really wanted to go whole hog into Christmas gifts, we were really, really broke. And I have a younger sister, and her love language is gifts. So I decided I'm going to make as many gifts as physically possible so that she has like a million things to open on Christmas morning. And I did, and she did, and I have a picture that I love very, very much, but I will not put it on the internet because she is 10 and I'm not putting her face on the internet. It's a very dangerous, scary place, but I do love that picture. She's going like, with like a million gifts around her. So just, we look alike. So imagine that just like with like 1,000 boxes. It's great. So the next year I decided to up the ante a little bit. And if I'm remembering correctly, that year I made my brother a granny square throw blanket. And if I can get a picture of that, I'll put it here. But also, he doesn't really keep his room very tidy, so I may not be taking a picture of that and putting it on the internet. And I don't think I have any pictures from when I made it, so it's gotten a little bit of pilling here and there, and it just doesn't look as great because it was years ago now. But I mean, he's done really good at taking care of it. It's just, it was acrylic yarn, and so it pills pretty easily. And that same year, I made my mom some grocery bags that were made out of grocery bags. So I like stripped it and tied it together with and made yarn out of it, crocheted with it, and she carries those things around with her to this day. I made her one yellow one that she uses as her toiletry bag if we go camping, and then I made her one big gray one, and for the longest time she carried it around as her church bag. And then it started to get some wear and tear in the handles, and she was like, I don't want to risk breaking these handles, so I'm going to stop carrying around big heavy books in it. And so now she uses it if she's just going out and about during the day, and she's got 1 or 2 books she might be bringing with her. Maybe she wants to bring a sweatshirt for the car or whatever, like lighter stuff to keep in the bag. And so we don't have to worry about it breaking. And then the year after that, I decided I was going to start rotating who got the biggest, hardest gift. So the year before, it had been my brother with that blanket. So that year it was my mom. I made my mom this gorgeous nativity set. Probably one of my favorite things I've ever made, and I'm not an amigurumi maker. So, you know, that's saying a lot. So, you know, she got the big gift that year. And then I think I made my dad a Christmas tree cake pillow or something. And I made my brother, oof, I don't even remember what I made my brother last. Oh, a matching granny square pillow to match his blanket. And then I made my sister a big giant like stuffed turtle. This year, this is where my family, if you're listening, you stop listening because this is where I'm about to tell the camera your Christmas gifts. So, I am making my mother, or I already made it, a purple cardigan. And it's very, very pretty. It's granny square, so it didn't take me very long. And made my brother again, don't listen, a laptop cover that is engraved with the word Sigma. I made that in the middle of the year when that was like the big slang term, and I feel like it's gonna be completely out of date by the time Christmas arrives because crochet doesn't really suit like fast fashion or fast trends, but you know, whatever. My sister is getting a plushie set of some characters that she really likes, and my dad is getting this. So that is kind of a catch you up on my crochet gift history. Also, for quite a few years during my crochet gift history, that was my family. There were 1,000 other gifts that got made. This year, the only gifts I'm making are those gifts, and then one for my adopted grandmother, which is a crochet pot holder set. I think it'll probably actually end up just being one pot holder. And then a stuffed lion wearing the t-shirt of my best friend's college that she goes to. So that will be hers. In years past, I went crazy and I made huge like gift sets for my youth group and made like 50 candy canes or 50 candy cane holders or 50 stockings or 50 like hat ornaments or 50 whatever, and I can't do that this year. I also would make, you know, 7 or 8 for my friend group, one for a boyfriend I had at the time. I would make some for my boyfriend's parents, who are also still currently my godparents, and they would be getting one if I was not so stressed this year. So like that's not really a thing. We broke up on really good terms. Like his parents would still be getting gifts, but I'm stressed out of my mind, so it's tight this year on who's getting gifts from me. And that kind of brings me into how do we navigate making crochet gifts, crochet and knit gifts. So I think all of us as like makers, we know that our craft takes a lot longer than people really give it credit for. I would say it happens with knitting a lot, because if you knit a sweater that looks like something that came off a machine, it doesn't, like, people don't register that it would take that much time because we're accustomed to seeing the knit fabric. Crochet, I feel like, has a bit of a novelty. People are more willing to accept that larger garments take longer with crochet, and this is speaking as a 10-year crocheter. I've experienced this though with like getting into knitting, noticing that people just assume that knitting is faster. Knitting actually, for me, takes a lot longer, even as a continental knitter, even as a fairly fast beginner knitter, I feel like. It still takes longer. So we all know that our craft takes a long time, but not everybody does. And so then you get into the realm of, well, are people gonna feel like I don't love them if I make them a gift, if I don't make them a gift? And that's what I want to talk about today, is where do you draw the line? How many do you make? How do you go about it? And later on, we're going to get into the sweater curse. So, you know, I do actually have some experience with that. I think the short answer for the question of should you crochet gifts for the people in your life is it depends on the people. And the first person it depends on is you. The one with your hands going a mile a minute, making these gifts, stressing about it, purchasing the yarn. It's you, it depends on you. So the first thing that it depends on is your time. How much time do you have? Are you stressed out of your mind? Are you a single mom? Or are you in a season of life where you have a lot of free time? Maybe you're on a sick bed. Maybe you're like beside a sick bed. Maybe you are in a sick bed. Maybe you're with people in hospitals. Maybe you're unemployed right now and you have a little extra time on your hands. Maybe you're in a season of life where it's good and you have a lot of extra time. Maybe you're a teacher and it's summer and you have time to cram a lot of stuff if you happen to have enough income from a spouse to, maybe not take as many jobs in the summer. If you have time to crochet a lot of Christmas gifts, great. If you don't, that's where you've really got to consider narrowing your scope. The other reason you might have to consider narrowing your scope is your resources. How much money do you have right now? And I know that feels like it's a bit of a dumb question because all of us have stashes, or on the internet, we feel like we all have stashes. But that's not true for everybody. I can remember one year, I really wanted to make Christmas gifts. And I think this is maybe the year before I talked about the big one where I made 1 billion gifts because my sister, her love language is gifts and we were super broke. But the year before that, we were pretty broke too, and we didn't have extra cushion money for me to go get yarn to buy everyone gifts or to make everyone gifts. And believe it or not, at that time, I didn't have a massive yarn stash. I was literally buying a ball of yarn for a project. I'd finish the project, I'd scrounge up some money, I'd go get another ball of yarn. I was maybe 12, 10 even at the time. And I didn't know how I was gonna get anybody yarn to make gifts. I only had one ball of yarn and I was trying to make it stretch for 1 million people, figure out what I could make. And I got a knock on my door, and my sweet neighbor to the left of my house, the house that was like to the left of us, I'll never forget her. She was so sweet growing up. She brings over a massive vacuum seal bag of yarn. And I was like, what in the world, Miss Becky? Like, why do you have so much yarn? And she was like, well, my mom is going in the nursing home. She can't take all of this in the nursing home with her. She doesn't want to, and her hands are shaking so bad with, I think it's Alzheimer's. I don't remember which one makes your hands shake, forgive me, but her hands are shaking so bad that she can't do this anymore. And so she told me to find somebody that loved yarn as much as she did and give it to them. And she said the first thing I thought of was you. So I had this massive vacuum seal bag of yarn and I had the most fun time making 1 billion Christmas gifts for everybody. But then the next year we were super tight, and if I hadn't had the yarn stash left over from that massive bag of yarn, I wouldn't have been able to make the 1 billion Christmas gifts that I made my little sister because we were super tight. So it depends. What do you have right now? If you have a big stash that you can delve into and you have some time, great, go for it. Make 1 billion Christmas gifts. If you don't have a lot of yarn, maybe you don't have enough to make some, and that's okay. That's where you've got to consider narrowing your scope, and that's okay. Don't put financial pressure on yourself. Acrylic is cheap, but to get enough to make for a bunch of people, it can be expensive. Also, don't feel like you have to go buy expensive wool for people to make sweaters and cardigans and blankets, and oh my goodness, this consumerism culture online will make you feel like you have to have the nicest of everything at all times, and you just don't. I promise you, acrylic is just fine, especially Hobby Lobby acrylic. It's so soft. Red Heart even is really soft. If you get a good colorway, it can be really, really soft, and you can soften it too. There's some great yarn softening methods that I've definitely used in the past. There are some very affordable yarns out there. I'm actually considering starting a little yarn show called In This Economy, where we go and we buy some cheap fiber arts or yarn things and we test them out, and we do it for budgeters like myself, and we just see what works and what doesn't, and I give you an honest review for what might be the best option for you if you're really scrapped for cash, because believe me, a lot of us are, especially in this economy. So if you don't have the resources to go buy a ton of wool or go buy a ton of acrylic or whatever, make 1 billion gifts, don't. Limit your scope. See what you can actually manage. The next thing that may make you want to consider limiting the scope of your gift making this year is your energy levels and your mental health. Guys, the world is crazy. Do not stress yourself out over making Christmas gifts. Gifts are supposed to come from the heart. They're supposed to come from a place of love. And if you put a consumerism pressure on yourself to pump out like a machine and not actually enjoy your holiday time, you will rob the people who love you from you on the holidays. And that's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you. And so take that into consideration. Even if you have a lot of time between a billion movie watch-throughs to crochet gifts, if you have a lot of family events that you're gonna go to and nobody minds you having yarn in your hands and you can be just as involved having yarn in your hands for a chit chat, if mentally you're stressing out about the next row, you're gonna rob yourself of a great Christmas time, and you're gonna rob them of a great Christmas time with you, because you're awesome and they love you and they want to have you. So if it's something that is continuing to ease stress and help refuel your energy and help your mental health, like I know it does for a lot of us, great, make as many as you want. But if it gets to the point where it's draining you, that's where you go, oh, okay. Because this is your time, your resources, your mental health, the brain you have to live in, the hands you have to use in everyday life, and it's your craft. If you ruin it for yourself, nobody else can fix it for you. This is something that nobody else is going to make. They're not going to, well, other people will crochet and knit, but nobody's going to make the same sweater you have in mind, just the way you have it in mind, with just the yarn you have in mind, with just your tension, with your exact same supplies, and with your exact circumstance. That's not going to happen. It's your craft. Each item is handcrafted and made individually by you, and you love it. You love it. So don't ruin it. Don't stress yourself out. Whether you have decided to keep your gift making scope huge or to narrow it down a bit, there is another person involved in Christmas gift making, and it's the person you're giving the gift to. I think the first thing that I consider when I'm thinking about who to make gifts for is who is closest to me. So I go in like a ring fashion order. My immediate family, meaning the people who live in my house, get top priority. They get the biggest gifts. They get the nicest gifts. They get the ones that I care the most about. And then we move in a ring from there. The second ring closest to my family are the people who are pretty much family. This would be my youth pastor's family. They've taken us in more times than I can count, and I love them very much. Actually, they're not going to get gifts this year because not even everyone in this ring for me is getting gifts this year. And they have 6 kids. They might get something. I don't know, but it will be a whole family gift. It won't be one for each of them. Then we have my grandmother, who's not really my grandmother, but is absolutely my grandmother. And then we have my best friend, who's not really my sister, but is absolutely my sister. In the ring outside of that, we have my godparents and some other very, very close friends. Not quite as close as my best friend, but I love them so much, and I feel bad categorizing people like this, but as a maker, you kind of have to decide who gets top priority, and the people who've been in my life the longest and have been there for me through the most will get that top priority. My godparents would 100% be getting gifts this year if I just had a little more time on my hands, but I don't, and they completely understand. So, you know, we love them for that. And then in the second ring out from that is if you're going to do a big group gift, this is where that goes. You worry about that after you're reasonably sure you'll be able to physically finish all the gifts you have for your immediate family, your very close friends, and secondary family. So I guess cousins would go in that ring maybe. And then your slightly closer friends, and then all the other people, all the other hooligans that you associate with. That's where they go. The next thing to consider is their ability to care for the item that you've given them. So this is really more directed at people, like elderly people with dementia, maybe young children who are never gonna take great care of their stuff. Just be aware of that. And it's less of a, do I make them something? Because if they're close to you and you want to, don't not do it. It's more of a, don't drop a lot of money on very expensive yarn because they might not take good care of it. I wouldn't give this category of people anything wool because it very well might shrink. Unless it's super wash, and even then I probably wouldn't do it just because. I would give this group of people washable, low pill acrylic Or if you're going to make plushies, velvety yarn. If this is for this group of people, please no safety eyes. Please embroider your eyes for child safety reasons. Pretty please. And adult with dementia safety reasons. Pretty please. Time to change my yarn colors. The next thing to consider about the other people involved in your Christmas gift making is their overall knit or crochet ability. Not ability as in can they do it, but as in knit ability. Like how knittable are they? How much do I really want to pour in to the time and effort for this person? I kind of have 3 points under the category of the other person involved in this, and I've already gone over 2 of them, and I refer to the 3 of them kind of lovingly as my knittable or crochetable checklist. How knittable is this person? How crochetable is this person? Because immediate family does not mean that they're knittable or crochetable. I'm really lucky. Mine is, but maybe your mom doesn't appreciate your craft. Maybe your dad doesn't understand how much time goes into it. Maybe he's not going to take good care of the item. Maybe they think it's a very frivolous thing you're doing and they don't really care. Maybe they've never showed any interest. Maybe your brother or your sister makes fun of you or thinks that it's really stupid. Maybe your spouse even really doesn't care. Just does not take good care of your time or your finished item. I think we have to pick who goes around us very wisely, but sometimes the people closest to us, we can't even pick. So if this person is not someone who appreciates your craft as something that has seen you through probably some hard times and that brings you joy and that keeps you off your phone for a little bit, maybe that person doesn't deserve a knit or crochet gift this year. I'm just saying. You're allowed to not do it. Generally, I have a rule. A lot of people who don't knit or crochet think that just because you can make them something, it means they deserve that something. Just because I could make them a sweater if I wanted to means that they are going to get a sweater. Just because I could make their family matching monogrammed stockings means that I'm going to make their family matching monogrammed stockings. Just because I make my family super gorgeous blankets or sweaters or whatever means that they're automatically going to get one themselves. And generally, when people feel that entitled, I decide they're not knittable, they're not crochetable. Because if you feel like you've earned the work of my hands, you don't live in the same America I do. You don't live in the same world that I do. You don't deserve any of what I make. I want to give it to you. I want to give you love through the items that I make, but also I put in a lot of time, and if you're not going to appreciate it and you think you're entitled to that, well, I'm going to teach you the hard way. And maybe that's a bit of a hot take, but I think that if some of us stopped making for people who really don't deserve it, we'd be a lot happier. And let me just preface, if you're anyone in my life watching this that's not getting a Christmas gift this year, that's not why you're not getting a Christmas gift, I promise you. There's nobody in my life like this right now. I feel very strongly about this as someone who has seen other makers go down this rabbit hole. I feel very strongly about this for them. For everyone in my life, you're great, you're awesome. I'm about to be in college, so I'm stressed out of my mind. Don't even worry about it. I promise it's not you, babe. You're cool. So if you are still considering and going to make gifts for people, how should you go about it? My biggest tip is to start as early as you physically can, and that depends on your stress level. So this year, I started in August, I think. No, wait, I started all the way back in June, maybe. Yeah, June with my mom's Christmas gift. But I don't usually start that early. I don't always start that early. Sometimes I have. This upcoming year, though, being a freshman in college, I'm going to start a very simple family gift in like January. That brings me to my next point. Just because you made a gift for a person last year doesn't mean you have to make one for them this year. Just because you've done stuff before doesn't mean you have to do it again. And just because you've made really cool, like, aggressively high quality and very in-depth projects does not mean you have to do that again. You're allowed to scale down. So this year, everybody's getting very special, different gifts. One person's getting a huge gift. Next year, they're probably all getting monogrammed stockings. Now, to wrap up, I want to talk about something that I've seen online. It's called the sweater curse. I'm actually wearing what I call my breakup sweater. So this is a sweater that I was working on the day that I had my first real breakup. And we had been dating for a couple of years. And so I finished it out and I called it my breakup sweater, and it's definitely how I got over that breakup, because we'd been friends for a really long time and I kind of just got it all out in a sweater. And then I was like, everything is good in the world and we're still in the youth group together. We can still work together. Like, obviously we're not as close as we were before we started dating. I miss the friendship we had when we were younger, but you know, life moves on and I can still be completely friendly with this person and enjoy their company and work together as a team and get things accomplished. So first of all, you know, be healthy with your breakups. Second of all, the sweater curse is this thing online. I've also seen it called the sock curse, so maybe the knitters are more familiar with that. It's where you start to make this really in-depth project for a person, and before you're done or right after you gift it to them, they break up with you, or you guys break up. So I actually do kind of have some experience with this, in that right before this breakup, I spent a lot of time designing a massive teddy bear for this guy. And I put in a ton of effort on this, and it was huge. And then we broke up like a month or two later, like not even. And it was like my biggest amigurumi project to date, blah, 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 dozens of hours. And I have a bit of a nuanced take on this sweater curse. If you follow all the kind of things that I laid out for who is knittable, who is crochetable, then you probably won't be making a gift for a partner who doesn't deserve it. You probably won't be making a gift for a partner who's going to burn it after you break up. I don't know what he did with any of the gifts that I gave him, but I highly doubt he destroyed them. I mean, he may have donated them. He may have put them up in storage. They probably aren't sitting in his room anymore because we broke up. But I highly doubt he completely ruined all the hard work I put in on these things, and probably somebody else somewhere is enjoying one of the things that I made him. And I think that made him perfectly knittable and perfectly crochetable. However, if you're in a relationship where you're freaking out about the sweater curse, oh, I can't start a sweater for them because then we'll break up. Baby, I think that probably says something about your relationship. Unless you're just joking about it, which is fine. It's fine to joke about that. But also, if you're genuinely afraid of sinking a lot of time and effort into a person in the form of a material thing, are you really willing to sink that much time and effort into a person in immaterial things? You're giving this person your feelings, you're giving this person your time, your love, your energy, and you don't want to give them a sweater? Can I just say, can I break the fourth wall for a minute and say, as much as we love our craft, it's not the most important part of us. It's not the greatest thing we have to offer somebody. That is our mind, our love, our very self. And you're giving that to somebody, but you're not willing to give them a sweater. I think that probably says something about the fact that you shouldn't be giving them yourself to begin with. You shouldn't be giving them your mind. You shouldn't be giving them your love or your time. If you're genuinely afraid to make this person a sweater because it'll go to waste if you break up, genuinely you shouldn't be with them. So that's the portion of the podcast where we spilled more tea than we drank because we're out of tea. Oops. If you guys enjoyed this, again, please like and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. Leave any comments about what other topics you might want. And have a very good night. I'm gonna go to bed. It's like 9 p.m. We only got like 3 rows done, maybe 2. It was 3.5. You know, I was having so much fun talking. I was going a little bit slower. You guys are not making me have a work ethic. For the whole day, though, I've got about that much on it. It's a huge blanket. So, you guys have a very good night. I love you very much. Bye!